Shocking allegations of abuse inside an East Texas animal shelter. Tonight, find out what the shelter director is accused of doing. Plus, flu vaccine failure. Why people vaccinated have just a 1 in 4 chance the shot will protect them. Tonight, what doctors say we need to do now. And as you can see from our live weather cam, it is a beautiful sunset out there right now, and things are only going to get better.
This is CBS 19 News at 6.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Gillian. Sheridan. Mike has the night off. Our top story tonight, a disturbing case of alleged animal abuse at a Jacksonville shelter. Klein Animal Shelter's executive director was arrested this morning on several charges, including animal cruelty. CBS 19's Nina Harrelson has been following this story since it broke this morning. Nina, this investigation has been going on for months.
Gillian, police tell me complaints of alleged animal abuse at the shelter go back more than 2 years, but it wasn't until this week that investigators finally had enough evidence to make an arrest, and that arrest was all caught on camera.
Say bye.
For the last 6 months, police have been watching and waiting, hoping to get the proof they needed to arrest 35-year-old shelter director Angela Wallace.
This is not just a sudden thing. It's been ongoing for quite some time.
And today, that moment came, all caught on video by Smith County Pets Alive co-founder Scotty Oxford.
I think that if anybody thinks that they're going to, treat animals that way that they've been entrusted with, then they shouldn't be in that position anymore.
It all began with complaints from former shelter employees who told horror stories about how staff were allegedly treating animals.
Things like kicking a dog to death, choking a cat out.
But that's not all. Daniel says employees are also accused of leaving animals in cages out in the cold, euthanizing animals without a license, and worse.
We received a report of a dog that was there that had been there several days, had a broken back, that was laying in a little cage, no pain medications from what we know, and that was laying in its own feces and urine.
I would definitely like to see her punished for her, actions that she's done if she's proven to be guilty, which I'm sure she will be. I hope she will be.
As of now, Wallace is charged with animal cruelty and illegal euthanasia, but she's also charged with assaulting a former employee. And Daniel says he is expecting even more charges in the coming days.
Nina, I understand that police are investigating other former shelter employees as well.
Yeah, Gillian, Daniel tells me his department has arrest warrants out for 2 other former employees, and they're both looking at felony charges, one for animal torture. Now, a sign on the shelter's door today says it's closed for maintenance. We did try to call them several times for comment, but we could only get a busy signal. Jillian.
All right, thanks, Nina. And the shelter currently contracts with the cities of Jacksonville and Tyler to accept their strays. Tyler Police Chief Gary Swindle says the department will conduct a separate investigation into the charges, and in the meantime, no animals will be taken to Jacksonville. The shelter also lost its rabies quarantine certification. The Texas Department of State Health Services says during an inspection, it discovered unsanitary conditions, overcrowding, and multiple animals in need of medical care. A developing story tonight out of Longview. One man is dead. His shooter is on the loose. Police were called to this home on Jones Street after reports of a shooting. Gregg County Justice of the Peace James Mathis did confirm a man died inside, but wouldn't tell us who he is. Neighbors tell CBS 19 that this home was owned by a woman. The Longview Police Department obtained a search warrant to enter the home.
If there's no one there to give us consent, whether the person is deceased, the owner of the house or whatever is deceased, or if there's no one home, can't get in touch with anyone, then we go and obtain a search warrant to go in.
Police officers are still looking for clues in this case. If you have any information, contact the Longview Police Department or Gregg County Crime Stoppers. In Van Nant County, 1 person dead, 2 others in custody following a shootout with Texas Rangers. It happened just north of Maybank around 1 o'clock this afternoon. One ATF agent and several Texas Rangers were attempting to arrest 3 suspects when they took off. The chase ended in a shootout on County Road 2718. 1 suspect was shot and killed at the scene, another taken by helicopter to an ETMC hospital. 1 was taken by ambulance to a Kaufman hospital. None of the officers were hurt. No word why they were being pulled over. We will have more on this story tonight at 10 o'clock. A body found in a home in Rusk County. A structure fire was reported this morning on County Road 291. Crews on the scene found a deceased person inside the home. An autopsy will be done to determine the cause of death. A court date now set for the man charged with killing his son's mother in the Gilmer High School parking lot. Jonathan Ray Shepard is charged with shooting Cheyenne Green in front of their child. It happened September 26, 2013, near Buckeye Stadium. Jury selection will begin at 9 a.m. Tuesday. Mount Pleasant police are warning against an elderly scam. A man is posing as a police officer, asking senior citizens to cash a check and then give the money to him. Investigators say the man wears a black suit and has handcuffs. Mount Pleasant police are asking for the public's help in finding him. Tonight, more bad news about the flu season. The vaccine is barely protecting people this year. That story in just 1 minute. First, a fabulous forecast. Let's check in now with meteorologist Doc Deason over in the Weather Center.
I've been looking forward to this one for a couple of days now.
You and everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's unanimous. Let's look at Weather Authority Live Camera Network one more time. I just got to show this beautiful sunset around the area. The high thin clouds always work their magic this time of day, and we're very thankful for a great way to start the weekend. Pretty appropriate that we had such a nice weather after today, or nice sunset after today's weather. Here's what we're looking at for the evening planner tonight. A couple clouds. We'll go 52 for most folks by around 7 o'clock. We're down below the 50-degree mark between 7 and 8, but again, not terribly bad. Not as cold tonight as we were last night, so that's probably good for most all folks involved. Won't have to worry about the frost like we did. We'll give you a look at the 7-day forecast, talk about another turn towards colder weather, Gillian. Not what you want to hear, but it's what I got to report. So back in a minute.
Enjoy it while it lasts.
That's
Thank you,
right.
Doc. CBS 19 Health Alert now. New information about issues with this year's flu vaccine. As we've told you, it hasn't been as effective as it normally is. Well, now we know it has only a 23% effective rate. The CDC says it's the lowest it's been in 10 years. CBS 19's Katira Winfrey is live in the newsroom tonight to explain what this means for the public and if there's any sign of relief.
Well, scientists start developing a vaccination for the flu about 6 months before the flu season actually starts, and they use statistics to help gauge which 3 to 4 strains are going to be the most prominent. Well, this year, the vaccination missed the mark, and hospitals across the country are feeling the impact.
During a good year, the flu vaccines given out are 60 to 65% effective. But this year, the rate of effectiveness was sliced in half.
This year, the flu virus began to mutate almost immediately after the vaccine was developed and has continued to mutate.
In a report released today, the CDC says this is the lowest vaccine effective rate in a decade.
More reason not to take a flu shot. If it's less effective on this strain, then why bother?
Fewer than half of Americans have been vaccinated this year. Patricia Jandrew is one of them.
No, I do not get a flu shot.
Even though the vaccine is less effective, the CDC is still encouraging the public to get vaccinated, since it can shorten how long you end up battling the flu if you get it, and encouraging doctors to continue to administer antiviral medication like Tamiflu and Relenza at the first sign of sickness.
Even with that 24%, individuals that have received the flu or have come down with the flu, the depth of the flu has been much less and the recovery time has been much shorter.
Determining which strains to include in the yearly vaccine is a toss-up, but scientists are working to change that.
The universal vaccine would probably last, as I said, 5 to 10 years. They're looking at more of the core of the virus than on the surface.
As of right now, a universal vaccine is still far from a reality.
Just haven't had the flu in forever, so I'm just going with my lucky streak, I guess.
And there's about 6 to 8 more weeks left in the flu season, but there's always a risk of the season being extended a little bit further.
All right. You know, in some places, the number of flu cases, Katira, have just skyrocketed. How are things here in East Texas?
Well, Gillian, things are here are doing okay. Now, specialists are seeing higher numbers, but so far nothing too dramatic. Now, the person you heard from in the story says where he works, he can see up to 20 people with flu-like symptoms a day.
As you said, not out of the woods yet. All right, thank you, Katira. Although anyone is susceptible to catching the flu, the elderly and young people are most at risk. We have information to help you stay healthy. Just head to CBS19.tv and click on the Fighting the Flu banner. A consumer alert now. 9,000 oil field workers will soon be out of a job. The oil company Schlumberger announced that it is cutting 8% of its workforce due to falling crude oil prices. Over the years, the employment rate has increased, but some wonder if this cut could be the beginning signs of a job market downturn. Employment agencies say if you know that your job is on the chopping block, the time to start job hunting is now.
Job search is really hard work, but it's those that are prepared. I would suggest that they prepare a resume, also collect all the information they need to complete applications.
When using an employment agency to find work, they say you should first register online. Well, in April, a company that makes shotgun shells began building a manufacturing plant in Marshall. Now it's hiring. Rio Ammunition will be searching throughout East Texas and Louisiana for about 60 new employees. Many positions will be hired through Texas Workforce Solutions. To see a list of the positions available, go to CBS19.tv. Just click on the hot button. An East Texas car dealership honored for going green. Still ahead, find out what they are doing to save energy. Plus, if you're looking for a new car, it might be worth a peek in the trunk. Why a spare is really rare. Coming up on CBS 19 News at 6.
It's a tried and true team that's been together a long time. They know East Texas. It's the CBS 19 Morning Team with Dana Huey, Clint Yates, and Scott Fossey. Wake up to the news that you need to be informed. Choose CBS 19 News. CBS 19 closed captioning is brought to you by Southside Bank. Southside Bank. Banking made easy. We promise. From your local news leader, here's your CBS 19 Weather Authority forecast with meteorologist Doc Deason.
I tell you, we are loaded with good-looking sunsets. Get out and take a look at what's going on outside. 53 now, Longview Weather Authority Live Camera Network, looking back to the west. High, thin clouds, as we talked about earlier on. It's a recipe for a really pretty 6 o'clock hour across East Texas this time of year. Let's go ahead and look at Weather Computer, and we'll see how we did as far as our highs were concerned today. We got above the 60-degree mark at just about every spot. We didn't quite make it to 60 Nacogdoches, but we'll be well ahead of that tomorrow. And Lufkin 63. Normals for this time of year run us mid to upper 50s. So finally back to near a little bit above normal. So we'll hang on to that while we got it. There's why the pretty sunset again is coming into place for us. Just a very high, thin layer of clouds. They'll continue to be with us here for the next couple hours, but we'll gradually lose them during the overnight period. But in the meantime, they're going to help to kind of slow down the cooling process. So temperatures, another reason why we're not going to be as cool tonight. 51 now, Longview, Henderson. You get over to Tyler, 51, 50 at Crockett, 53 now at Lufkin, Angelina County Airport. Our winds are also helping out in the cause. There's not a whole lot of wind, but what is happening is coming out of the south. South at 3, Longview, 6 at Tyler, 3 at Jacksonville, and then calm as you get into a few more trees down to southern counties of East Texas. Here's what we have across the rest of the region. 50s, Oklahoma City. Amarillo, they were above 60 up into the Panhandle today, and I know those folks are just loving it. 50s and 60s down into deep South Texas, which is a heck of a place to be for about 4 or 5 months out of the year when you've got the kind of conditions that we have during the winter and late fall season. Nationally speaking, we've got some cool air on the map, but I mean, seriously, compared to where we were just a couple of days ago and where we're going to be late next week, this ain't too bad. 29 Chicago, Minneapolis, and Bismarck in the 20s. A little bit warmer out towards Phoenix. No surprise there, 70s, and then teens and 20s out across northeastern parts of the U.S. We get back closer to home and we look in on our in-house computer model. That's going to keep the clouds here with us this evening, but otherwise very uneventful besides the really pretty looking sky here next couple hours. We go into the day on Saturday with a lot of sunshine. That's going to quickly boost temperatures back up well into the 60s tomorrow afternoon. And I'm really excited about the outdoor plans that you may have in place for tomorrow. And if you don't, you're probably going to want to make some. South winds tonight, 5 or so miles an hour. And we get into the day tomorrow, we're going to be a bit on the breezy side. South-southwest winds 10 to 15. And that southwesterly wind coming out of those higher elevations out across south central Texas will cause that air to want to heat much more readily. So that's going to be a good piece of what's going on tomorrow. Winds come into more of a northerly direction tomorrow night as a weak boundary slides through. Won't do much more than just kind of keep a lid on how warm we're going to be able to get on Sunday. We'll look at 36-hour numbers tonight and tomorrow night. 30s both sides of 64 Along I-20 tomorrow afternoon, we'll see 66, 67, maybe 68 Angelina County and Houston County area tomorrow afternoon. 3-day planner, 62 Sunday, again, just kind of weak reinforced with some slightly cooler air. 40 early Monday. A lot of folks got the day off on Monday for school and the like, and banks and whatnot. So we're at 65 on Monday afternoon, so a heck of a good day for that. 61 Tuesday, 50s Wednesday. We start to kind of that downhill slide into the latter part of the week. Low end chances for rain. Looks like much colder air coming in time for next weekend. Posted some stuff on that on Facebook. Fixing to post a picture for the sunset outside the station here in a minute. So check out my Facebook page and like us while you're there. CBS19.TV. Weather details 24/7.
So I guess if you never got your Christmas lights up from outside, Doc.
I did.
Oh, you did?
I did get them up. Okay. I pulled them down.
If not, though, this would be a good weekend to do it.
I pulled them down after dark before the big cold snap happened.
Gotcha.
But I did get them.
All right. Thanks, Doc.
All right.
All right. The season's over, but the Cowboys still have work to do. More on the team's free agency issues later in sports. First, we've all been there, sitting at a traffic light for what seems to be an eternity. But wait times in Tyler will become shorter by summer. Find out why next on CBS 19 News at 6.
KYTX CBS 19 Weather and Weather App are brought to you by Texas Spine and Joint Urgent Care, the best step to better health.
New traffic lights are on the way for 12 different intersections in Tyler. City Council members approved $140,000 to expand the traffic system downtown. CBS 19's Destiny McKeever is live at the intersection of Broadway and 5th Street, which is one of the intersections receiving the upgrade. Destiny?
Gillian, the city of Tyler is installing video sensors in intersections like this one here to help speed up your commute. But the people living out here in the Azalea district say this is long overdue.
To get into Broadway is very hard because there's traffic both ways and very heavy.
Joseph DeSanchez has lived in the Azalea district for 18 years.
I was looking for a place where to move, where to have a better life.
So Joseph moved from Mexico to Tyler not knowing there were no freeways and a population of 100,000.
I was surprised because, first of all, it was not the city that I was expecting because streets are pretty dangerous.
But with the expansion of Tyler's adaptive control system to 12 different intersections, city leaders say heavy traffic may decrease.
ACS system will allow people to basically turn on Broadway from the loop or continue north, and the goal is they will get a green light all the way to Front Street. It should take a couple minutes off of the commute.
In areas like the Azalea district, residents must go through several signal intersections to get to their destinations. And during rush hour, traffic increases.
Stop and go traffic is really bad. People don't want to drive and stop and drive and stop.
Meanwhile, people like DeSanchez say they've wanted this for years.
If I'm still alive when they do that, I want to see the improvement. They can say numbers, they can mention how much money do they have to spend. But if I've been living here for 20 years and I don't see the improvements, what difference does it make?
Now the cameras will operate like sensors. They'll tell one another when to change from red to green, and the city is expecting to have all of them installed by June. Back to you.
That is good news. All right, thank you, Destiny. And right now, the city has utilized the adaptive control system in 62 different intersections. The same system is the same that's used for light timing and changes on South Broadway, the Loop, Beckham, and Front Street. New tonight, when drivers get a flat tire, they just pop the trunk and then they pull out that spare tire. But a growing number of new car owners are finding their trunks are empty. Major automakers are building some cars without a standard spare. About 150 different models in the past few years. Auto companies are making cars lighter to meet new fuel economy standards.
They're trying to shave every pound possible off a vehicle, and when you can eliminate a spare tire and put in an inflator kit with a sealer in your trunk instead, that saves a fairly significant amount of weight.
Many automakers offer spare tires as an option, but they cost extra now. Some luxury cars without spares come equipped with what are called run-flat tires, which can be driven to a repair shop without air. I still want my spare. All right, Pelche Subaru in Tyler has gone green, and it has paid off. The business has achieved Subaru's eco-friendly dealer status by taking steps to save energy, recycle, and conserve water. The dealership buys renewable energy and uses a programmable thermostat. It also installed LED lighting and encourages employees to recycle cans, bottles, paper, even the boxes that the parts come in. Taylor Brewer says the efforts are good for the whole city.
The community, maybe they think car dealerships, we can't slow down. We're so busy about selling cars and keeping customers in new cars, but we do have an opportunity to slow down and really think about the environment and think about where we're putting that trash. And I think when they see that, us taking those steps to do a little bit extra, they want to do that.
Pelche's car wash also uses biodegradable soap that's quick drying, so no fans are needed. The dealership says it saves a lot of money in addition to being good for the environment. Congratulations. All right, high school football season never truly over here in East Texas, is it, Jeff?
It wasn't even a month ago that we did play the state championships, and officially the season ended, but we're talking about it again, Gillian. Yeah. Not surprising. The Heart of a Champion Bowl, well, we're already talking about that. It's the annual game here in East Texas, and we've got a new wrinkle this year as well. We'll talk about it all when we come back.
When you need to know about the weather, you can find out right here at your fingertips. Our Weather Authority radar app will help plan your day or week. Another important feature is our alerts, keeping you safe. It's powered by Texas Spine and Joint Hospital.
Tonight on CBS 19, don't miss all new episodes of Undercover Boss, Hawaii Five-0, and Blue Bloods. Then, stay tuned for CBS 19 News at 10 for local news, weather, and sports coverage you can count on. Get your news when you want it. Visit CBS19.tv. From your local news leader, it's time for Big Board Sports with Jeff Schaffer.
We know who we kind of want to go after, but I hadn't done this enough, I guess, to really have a strategy.
You just kind of cross your fingers and, hopefully you get a good team. Most of these kids will be pretty good.
Oh, he's right about that. It was draft day for the annual Heart of a Champion All-Star football game. We'll have more on the East Texas Showcase, as well as a big addition to this year's event in just a little bit. We start, though, in the NFL, where free agency doesn't begin until March 10th, but it's not too early to talk about it, considering how many decisions the Cowboys have to make. Cole Beasley and Lance Dunbar among the Cowboys set to become restricted free agents, while a host of other key players are in line to be unrestricted free agents, including Bruce Carter, Justin Durant, and Doug Free, and I feel like I'm forgetting a couple of them. Yeah, that's one of them, DeMarco Murray and Dez Bryant. The other one, they're both slated to become unrestricted free agents this year. Murray led the NFL in rushing yards this season, playing all 16 games for the first time in his career, while Bryant led the league in touchdown catches. Jerry Jones admitted today it will be tough to re-sign both Bryant and Murray. Not a shocking revelation there, but he didn't rule it out. Of course, head coach Jason Garrett got his contract extension this week, as did coordinators Rod Marinelli and Scott Linehan. But even as Garrett prepares for his 5th full season as head coach, he says he can't afford to get complacent.
Culture is something that you have to work on every minute of every day. Mentality and mindset is something you have to work on every minute of every day. You never have it. If anybody thinks they have it down, hey, we got that part of it down, you're not there, they're thinking the wrong way. So it's a daily thing for us as coaches to try to instill that in ourselves, in our football team, individually and collectively.
Well, every Friday night during the fall, the wealth of local football talent goes on display throughout East Texas. But this June, the Heart of a Champion All-Star football game will showcase much of that talent in one place. This marks the 5th year for the game, which is hosted by the Northeast Texas chapter of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. It brings together players, coaches, and cheerleaders from all over East Texas. Coaching staffs for this year's game were announced today. Then the teams drafted from a pool of players. White House's Adam Cook will lead the staff on the red team, while Terry Ward from Tenaha is the blue team head coach. And all those involved agree it's great to be a part of what's become an East Texas tradition.
Hey man, just the kids you get to meet and the opportunity for the FCA. This is something that we look forward to. This is a blessing for us as coaches.
is. And East Texas has probably the best football, in my opinion, across the whole state. And we could probably nominate 600 kids if you really wanted to.
Working with so many other, coaches and just being able to be around them and pick their brains, and we'll probably share a bunch of stories with each other, and it's just going to be a great time.
Well, this year, the Heart of a Champion event is expanding. In fact, we kind of have to refer to it as an event rather than a game because for the first time, the FCA, also hosting an all-star softball game. Same concept as the football game. We'll have more on the new edition and hear from that game's head coaches later this hour. It seems like that's the perfect area to expand.
Yeah.
Of course, we talk about football a lot, but some great softball
Sure
here.
does. All right, looking forward to it. Thanks, Jeff.
Sure.
Well, if you thought last year was warmer than usual, you're exactly right. It was the hottest year on Earth ever. Plus, a solution to an embarrassing skin condition that affects millions of adults and children. Next on CBS 19 News at 6:30.
You're watching KYTX CBS 19 News at 6:30.
Welcome back. About 30 million Americans suffer from eczema. Now, the Food and Drug Administration has fast-tracked a new treatment. As Brian Webb shows us, this new drug is changing the lives of people with this skin condition.
Daniela Velasco's skin looks healthy for the first time in 4 years.
You see that it's quite normal now. It's unbelievable.
It used to look like this. Velasco suffers with severe eczema. The painful, itchy flare-ups would keep her up all night.
The itch doesn't go away.
In August, Velasco joined a study at Mount Sinai Hospital in New York that's testing a new drug called dupilumab. She says the skin on her legs went from this to this in just 10 days.
Literally, they were disappearing. They were like the wounds were closing, and it was such a quick change.
85% of the patients in the study taking the drug experienced similar results. Dr. Emma Gutman-Yaski led the research which found eczema is an immune-driven disease. This new drug targets molecules that trigger the inflammation.
We know that it's immune-driven, and we know that we have a large population that is in need of better treatment.
The drug's manufacturer says the FDA has designated dupilumab a breakthrough therapy, which puts it on the fast track for approval. Brian Webb for CBS News, New York.
And doctors are now studying ways to use the drug on children with eczema. The Supreme Court may soon make an historic ruling. In April, the justices will decide whether same-sex couples have a right to marry everywhere in America under the Constitution. The cases will be argued in April. Supreme Court decision is expected by late June. Well, things really sizzling around the globe last year. In 2014, the world had its hottest year in 135 years of record keeping. December was the second warmest ever. 9 of the 10 hottest years have occurred since the year 2000. And things are warming up here in East Texas, and it's still winter. Back over to Doc for our warm weekend forecast.
Yeah, we are going to be dealing with temperatures above normal next couple of days. The winter, though, still has quite a bit left for us to deal with over the next couple of weeks. We'll look at evening planner numbers, though, tonight on the weather computer. Actually, we take a peek at Weather Authority Live Camera Network. 51 right now, Longview. Temperature holding up nicely. Winds will continue helping to keep us stirred around, and also temperatures being assisted by the high clouds, which brought the nice sunset. 48 at 9 o'clock. We're at 46 by 11. Day planner real quick. Get you to about 64. Tyler, Longview will go 67, 68 for Lufkin and the Crockett area tomorrow afternoon. Back with the 7-day Gillian. We'll talk about that cool down in a minute.
All right, loving that forecast. Thank you, Doc. Coming up, some great things to do this weekend. Plus, if you want a pet but can't have one permanently, you can now borrow one for a day. Find out how after the break.
Know the weather anytime with a wireless weather station courtesy of CBS 19 and Tyler Weathermakers. I'll be giving one of these wireless weather stations away every single Wednesday morning on CBS 19 this morning. All you have to do is register on our CBS 19 Facebook page. A winner will be chosen every Wednesday morning, so be sure to register on CBS 19's Facebook page for your chance to win a wireless weather station courtesy of CBS 19 and Tyler Weathermakers.
A new program coming out of Gilmer has found a unique way to bring pets and people together. It's called Big Brothers Big Sisters, a version for dogs. It allows for people to check out a dog for a certain amount of time and then return it. CBS 19's Kevin Boyce shows us how this allows more people to enjoy the companionship of animals.
Big girl. Anita Smith has been taking Dory home for months. Dory is a rescue animal at Upshur County's Hope House for Pets and has been forming a close relationship with Smith. Anita says she already owns a dog, but it spends hours alone each day. She wants Dory to become its best friend.
By looking at them and watching them play, it was so important to see the happiness. You could actually see them smile just about.
This program allows pet lovers like Smith to borrow these rescue animals for a time period of their choice. The renters can simply choose to take the animals for an hour or two or keep them for several weeks. Founder of Hope House for Pets, Sheridan says it gives those who can't keep the pet permanently a way to still enjoy the animal.
The dogs are all vetted. They don't have fleas, they don't have worms, they're very healthy, and so they're taking home a healthy dog. And they don't have to worry about paying any bills to keep the dog.
Besides helping with the financial aspect of pet ownership, the program also allows those living in something like an apartment or a nursing home to spend time with an animal. It also allows those wanting to permanently adopt a chance to test drive the pet to see if the animal is the right fit for your home. Azal believes it also gives the animal a better chance for adoption.
They really need to be socialized. They have to learn to play with people and animals and not be aggressive, and they really don't learn that here in the clinic. We try to socialize them, but we just don't have the time to interact with each one.
This program is new and has only seen a handful of clients so far. Smith says this program takes the fear of uncertainty out of adoption.
It is absolutely no pressure, no obligation.
In Gilmer, Kevin Boyce, CBS 19 News.
Hope House for Pets will hold an adoption event this Saturday at PetSmart between 10 and 3. It will allow those interested to go and see what animals they might like to check out or perhaps even adopt. A weekend event preview from our news partner at the Tyler Morning Telegraph. Celtic and classical music comes together this weekend at UT Tyler. Danny Mogul has a sneak peek at the Dueling Fiddlers concert.
East Texas Symphony Orchestra begin the new year with a concert that celebrates both personalities of the violin. Concertmaster Mark Miller will present classical violin selections, while guest artist Natalie McMaster will present the violin as a Celtic fiddle, and she will present selections from traditional English folk music. This Dueling Fiddles concert is set for 7:30 p.m. Saturday at UT Tyler's Cowan Center. I have more information on this concert and a lot of other things to do this weekend posted on our website, etwired.com. Back to you.
Should be fun. Thank you, Danny. For more information, visit our website, cbs19.tv, and head to the Go Spot tab at the top of the page. Well, another great weekend event. Citizens are encouraged to fling a disc to help end hunger. The 2015 Ice Bowl Disc Golf Tournament will be held at Lindsay Park tomorrow. This is the 10th annual tournament, and people from all across the nation will be there to take part. All proceeds collected locally will benefit the East Texas Food Bank as well as Tyler Parks and Rec.
The food banks are going to receive funds which help purchase the food, and $1 equals 8 meals. So for every dollar that we are able to raise for the food bank, then we give it to them.
The event starts tomorrow morning at 10. Registration is at 9. Perfect weekend for Frisbee golf or pretty much anything else outside, isn't it, Doc?
Yeah, going to be really, really nice, Gillian. We will take a look at our 7-day forecast. Not only a good weekend, but a pretty nice start to next week. Back in a minute.
When news happens, you want the best coverage. CBS 19 and the Tyler Morning Telegraph are working together, reporting on stories that matter. More coverage you can count on. KYTX CBS 19 Weather and Weather App are brought to you by Texas Spine and Joint Urgent Care, the best step to better health. From your local news leader, here's your CBS 19 Weather Authority forecast with meteorologist Doc Deason.
Well, sun's gone, but we still have pleasant temperatures. 53 right now. Weather Authority Live Camera Network. Not looking at much in the way of wind currently, and obviously no rain since midnight. Let's go ahead and look at our satellite and radar composite. Our East Texas perspective shows the high thin clouds still in play. They're going to be there for several more hours. So as we go into our temperatures and you run from south to north, 52 Groveton right now, 50 at Center, Shelby County, 51 rather, San Augustine, and 51 at Carthage. Marshall's checking in 52. You got 52 also at Gilmer as we push into Upshur County, and 51 over at Canton right now. The dew point temperatures show us kind of how much moisture we have to work with, and we've still got a relatively modest amount of moisture in place, especially considering January. These numbers could be a heck of a lot lower. They were a lot lower earlier in the week when we had the real frigid conditions, but as we push these numbers up, that also makes it harder for us to cool off as much at night. So for most folks, we're pretty glad we're dealing with this kind of situation. Doesn't make the hands feel quite as dry either. Visible, our satellite radar composite infrared shows you these kind of band of clouds we've got across our area, and then some additional high, thinner clouds back out across West Texas, but we've got a good chunk of this stuff which is going to get east of us here during the overnight period tonight, and going to leave us with more sunshine for tomorrow. 53 at Waco. We got 54 up I-35 at DFW, 52 down towards Houston, 49 out at Alpine. Temperatures tonight. Pick your spot and keep tabs on it. Not going to get all that cold. Not nearly as cool tonight as last night. I think we'll see a lot of folks in the upper 30s at the coldest tonight. A few outliers like Nacogdoches, which is typically a colder spot. The airport sits right there in a kind of a low spot, and that's why we're usually colder there. We get into the day tomorrow. A nice recovery. 60s by before lunchtime, I think, for a lot of folks, and we'll top out well into the 60s tomorrow afternoon for all of our 26 East Texas counties. Tomorrow evening we'll bring it back down, but not that bad. Winds tonight out of a southerly direction. That's also helping out in the cause for the warmer conditions overnight tonight. We will see daytime winds pick up 10 to 15 miles an hour southwesterly wind. A little bit lighter as you get down into the heavier trees down towards deep East Texas counties. But we start to see a wind shift line come through tomorrow evening, and that really more or less just kind of keeps things status quo. Maybe not quite as warm on Sunday afternoon as we're going to be tomorrow, but still, it'll be nice. 38 tonight, 64 tomorrow. And 37 tomorrow night with a lack of clouds and that gentle north breeze. 62 on Sunday. You're going to like Monday. A lot of folks got the day off, so they're liking it already. 65 is what we're going to push at you there. 61 Tuesday. We start to trend temperatures down. I may be underplaying the cold air, but we're just still trying to get a handle on exactly the timing on this thing. But suffice to say, expect things to get colder as we get into the latter part of next week. Updates from me over the weekend on Twitter and Facebook. And, of course, always you can grab us at CBS19.tv. But enjoy this while we got it.
Good weekend to go to the park with the kiddos.
Please do a little bit. Disc golf they were talking about. I still got to figure that out.
Thanks, Doc.
All right.
Well, if you want to be a meteorologist like this guy here, or you just want to know more about the weather, mark your calendar for this event. CBS 19 is co-sponsoring a class with the National Weather Service, Tyler Amateur Radio Club, and East Texas Emergency Communication Services. The weather class is Thursday, February 19th at the Shiloh Road Church of Christ in Tyler. The Skywarn training starts at 6, last couple of hours. It's free and open to all ages. Kilgore College welcomed some new players to its softball family today. We'll hear from several signees from East Texas next in sports.
From your local news leader, it's time for Big Board Sports with Jeff Schaffer.
As we discussed earlier this hour, the Heart of a Champion football all-star game has become an annual showcase for East Texas football talent. But this year, the folks at Northeast Texas FCA are branching out beyond the gridiron, holding an all-star softball game for the first time. It's essentially the same as the football game, but played on a diamond, of course. Carthage's Matt Fulmer and Harmony's Brian Mock are the head coaches for this year's game, of course joined by several other area coaches, and both say it's a great event for East Texas softball.
The sport's really growing. There's lots of girls interested in softball and playing softball. So it's a great chance for them to show East Texas just how good they really are.
Well, I'm just excited to get it up off the ground. It was a little nerve-wracking at first because we didn't know if we were going to get enough nominations or if we were going to have enough coaches. But, it's a God thing. He put everything in place, and we've just been fortunate enough to be a part of it.
Any kind of strategy for the draft today?
Pitchers. We need some pitching.
I think every softball coach agrees that they need some pitching today. Just one step in the process leading up to the Heart of a Champion All-Star Game. As we take a look on February 15th, the All-Star players will be announced, followed by a banquet sometime during April. No specific date for that just yet. All-Star Week, June 10th through the 13th over at Tyler Junior College. Now the softball game, that'll be played June 12th over at UT Tyler, followed by the football game on the 13th. That one this year going to be played at Lobo Stadium out in Longview. Well, believe it or not, softball season is almost here. This softball season, the ladies from Kilgore College open the third season in program history later this month on January 30th. And today, the Lady Rangers welcomed a class of 8 players who will join the team next fall at the team's signing day. There's plenty of local flair in today's class. Of the 8 signees, 4 come from East Texas schools. We caught up with those players who won't have to move too far to play college ball.
It's been a dream of mine since I was 8 years old, started playing the game to come play college softball, and there's just not a feeling to compare to it.
Whenever we started pulling up, I got really nervous, but it's definitely something I've been wanting to do my whole life, so I'm glad I get to experience it here.
It's a great feeling, you know, knowing that I have somewhere to play at for the next 2 years, and I'm glad that I can stay here at home and play.
I'm excited to meet all my new teammates and who I'll be playing with for the next 2 years, so it's pretty exciting.
Exciting for them, and we saw in some of the video there, Gillian, exciting for the parents as well, that they're not moving.
Very proud.
They're proud, and they're happy that they can still watch them play going pretty close to home. So a big day for softball.
Sure
Who would have thought that in the middle of January?
Congratulations. Thanks, Eric. Jeff. Sorry, Jeff. After the break, I'll look at some of the day's top stories, plus a weekend forecast we've all been waiting for. Stay with us.
Get your news when you want it. Visit CBS19.tv. Social media is changing the way news is delivered. Choose CBS 19 News on Facebook for up-to-date news and information sent directly to you. We deliver you the news that matters to you and your family. Choose CBS 19 News. Get your news when you want it. Visit CBS19.tv for breaking news, top headlines, and up-to-the-minute information on all the day's stories. Stay connected with your community. Watch videos and find links to all of our social media sites. Stay ahead of the weather with accurate Weather Authority forecasts and our live interactive weather radar. You can even watch the news live. Your news is just a click away. CBS 19 News. Coverage you can count on.
Topping the news, one man is dead after a shooting in Longview. Now the search for a suspect. This was a scene this morning on Jones Street. Police arrived at this house after 9 when someone called 911 to report a shooting. The Longview police obtained a search warrant to enter the home. Gray County Justice of the Peace James Mathis confirmed a man did die in the house. His identity has not been released tonight. The executive director of a Jacksonville animal shelter is facing charges of animal abuse, illegal euthanasia, and assault. 35-year-old Angela Wallace arrested at Klein Animal Shelter around 10 this morning. Police say they've been getting complaints about alleged animal abuse for years. There are warrants issued for other people as well. Well, traffic relief coming soon to Tyler's Azalea District. City Council members approved a $140,000 plan to improve signal lights. The adaptive control system will be used for timing needed for busy intersections like 5th and Broadway. Traffic should be flowing smoother by June. New tonight on CBS 19 News at 10, Seahawks fans hitting Packers fans where it hurts with cheese.
I can't imagine banning cheese anywhere.
One city in Washington state is banning cheese because it seems to be a Green Bay favorite. And people in Wisconsin not just sitting back and taking the jab. No, they have a ban of their own. Football fan standoff tonight at 10.
I'm not a Packers fan. I couldn't imagine
The
a ban on
cheese heads are not happy.
I bet they don't have a Whataburger in that town. Cheese. That would be a bet on that. Let's look at the evening planner numbers. We got a great looking weekend coming together for you. We'll be at 48 by 9 o'clock, and we're down to 46 at 11. Day planner tomorrow. We'll start off upper 30s to around 40. We top out mid 60s for a lot of folks, mid to upper 60s, southern counties of East Texas. There's a 3-day planner. Nice looking Sunday, maybe a tad cooler, but still great looking Monday. Rain chances turning colder late next week.
Alrighty, it's going to be great.
Yeah,
Finally tonight, an NFL-inspired display at Tiffany's in Scottsdale, Arizona. The world-famous store is showing off Super Bowl rings and Pro Bowl trophies created by their artists. Tiffany crafted Super Bowl rings from years past and a most valuable player trophy. Aren't they pretty?
Sure.
Yeah, all right. Thank you for watching CBS 19 News at 6. We leave you tonight with a beautiful sunset over Longview. We'll see you at 10.
KYTX CBS 19 News app is brought to you by Hyundai of Longview. You pick it out, we'll work it out. We're KYTX. Texas is in our name. Informative. Experience. Quality reporting. Exclusives. CBS 19 News. Coverage you can count on. East Texas weather can be beautiful, and it can become dangerous without notice. The CBS 19 Weather Authority team of John Adams, Doc Deason, and Scott Fosse can track the dangerous storms and also give you a pleasant outlook to plan your weekend. Choose CBS 19 Weather. You're watching KYTX CBS 19 in HD.